And she was exactly the kind of person we wanted to be brand ambassadors for Seychelles at the time.
That was fantastic. That was Prince William. I remember we were chosen, and it was like all the blinds were closed up because it was like, oh, paparazzi will be taking photos of him and all that. I remember Captain Savi one day just came and sat in front of me at the desk because Seychelles was in the same building, and said, Eleanor, how about you come and join us as a crew? And I'd go out there with the biggest beaming smile ever, and you could just see it, like everybody would echo, almost, not everybody, but most of the people would echo it, that they would have the same thing, they would have that smile, look at you and smile.
To be honest, Eleanor was, I should say she played a vital role in getting Boardwalk at a certain level.
No? There's nothing you would like to do that you haven't done yet? Or something that you're going to say that I need to do this? No? You know? É quelque chose que os autres coins, os autres encore besoin de faire, os autres supposés faire, os autres coins, os autres besoin de faire, mais os autres pas encore faire. Se pas qu'à dire dans un mot, dis-le de trois mots, dis ça à dire next to you. Allez? Okay? All right. Can someone share one? Anybody? Can anybody share what the person has said? Yeah? That's deep. That's deep. That doesn't help me at all. Okay, something else? That's a good one, actually. Now, exercise. All right, if your aim is to exercise, why would you like to exercise? All right. Yeah, okay. I was going to say something else, but fantastic. All right. So at least you're true. Do you understand? If you say something, like if you use one word or a couple of words and say, this is what I still need to do, if it feels difficult for you to say it, it's not going to happen. If it feels easy for you to say it, it's light. So it is most likely to happen. It's most likely for you to do it, because then it's something like you're really ready for it. Do you understand where I'm getting at? That's why I said share it to the next person. That next person is either someone you know, you don't know, it doesn't matter. But if you've been able to voice it out, that means it means so much to you that you want to do it. Do you get where I'm coming from? Yeah? Okay. Anybody else wants to share something else they've heard, or someone has said something to them that they feel like is different to the two that have been shared right now? That's it. Everybody said exercise? Yeah. Okay. Wow. Finish the book. How committed to that do you feel?
Committed, but I haven't started it yet. But I've set a timeline by the end, before the end of the month, so we shall see.
Okay, how does it feel when you're saying it right now out loud in front of all those people who don't even know you? How does it feel?
It has a lot to do with discipline also.
Okay. Do you feel lighter that you let it out? Like, okay, this is it. I'm going to write that book, finish that book. There you go. So you're most likely to do it. And I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. You're going to write that book. Okay, anybody else? Yes. Start your own business. That's something else. Wow. Okay. Now you said it to Claude Bonte. You don't know him. Do you know him? If you know him, you're going to find someone else. Do you know him? No? No. How do you feel that when you said it? Like, do you feel better you actually shared it to Claude Bonte? Well, you should, because he's got loads of stuff he can share with you. There you go, you see? So you are going to start, when are you going to start a business, by the way? When do you think you want to start? Okay, I'll put in my calendar. Promise, I will. Okay, anybody else? Come on, there's about, how many people in here, Claude? Give and take? 40. 40, there must be some, yes. Working on your retirement plan. Now that is something else. Okay, so you feel very strongly about that? When do you think you're going to start? Yesterday? No? What does that mean, as soon as possible? At the beginning of next year, as of 1st of January? Ah. How good does it make it feel for you to say that in front of people? Do you think it's like, is it okay? Do you feel okay that you said it in front of all those people? There you go. So it's... Most likely to happen. I think I'll have to take your name down too. Anybody else? Come on, 40 people. I got 4. 40 people. Anybody else has to share something that someone said that they feel that it should be out there so it can help that person too? No? Yes, Marcus. Put a process into a system, so document it. Okay, all right, when are you going to start? Okay, all right, so when do you think you will end it? Like, you have it all done, completed?
We'll have it ready by 13th of January.
30th of January? Marcus, I've got your email address, I've got your contact details. Okay, great. All right, so do you understand? Whenever you have something in there, if it feels light, it feels okay, it feels comfortable, that means you are going to do it. But if it feels like you're struggling, especially with me with exercising, every day I'm going to exercise, it doesn't really happen. So do you get what I'm saying? Yeah? So you really have to be committed to. That means you have the right wiring. If you are not rightly wired, it's not going to happen. So your wire has to be very, very strong. Okay? Now, can someone at least give me something? Tell me something where you feel that wherever you've been either before and where you are now, what is different with you now? Like what has happened in your life that makes you different now? Do you feel like you're more with it or not? Do you feel like now you've reached that stage where you've got it all sorted or not? Oh gosh, a lot of work to do. Okay, anybody? I feel bad. I'm always picking on you with my eyes. Tell me.
Well, I feel multiple challenges that have prepared me for the next stage of my life. So basically, I feel now I'm better equipped.
Better equipped as per like how? With tools, with experience?
Experience, life skills, confidence.
How long did it take you to reach where you are now?
I would say 17 years. Because I've embarked on a journey last year that I always wanted to do, which is launch my business.
Okay.
So I'm in it right now, where it's happening.
So now you are
And
where
whatever
you've
I've
always
learned
wanted to
before, it has shaped me to be where I am now.
be. Okay, so you think that you have sort of sorted out your why, and you know exactly why you're doing the things you're doing, and for what reason, yeah?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Anybody else? Are you still stuck? Or are you in that job that you don't really want to be? Anybody else? You've just gone with the flow. You go to work 8, and then you go back home at 4, and then you go back at 8, and you go back at 4. Oh, okay.
Morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I feel I'm in a good place right now. I feel I have more wisdom. I feel I'm more in control of my emotions. When things go wrong, I don't take it personally anymore. I'm able to delegate and empower other people to take on parts of my role. So I'm feeling more comfortable for sure.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you've sort of like sorted out your why, and you know exactly where you have to be at to get the results that you want to get. Amazing. It takes a long time. Don't believe that it just happens overnight, okay? It takes a long time. And yes, once you are at that time and everything just works as it should, it's just a breeze. But there are always little hurdles, aren't they, Lucy? I mean,
There's still challenges.
Correct. Yeah, it's never
That's
like
what keeps us on our toes, right?
Yeah. Now, anybody else? Now, Lucy has given us something. The nice gentleman has given us something. Come on, people. Nobody else? You can't run anywhere. Marcus is going to get you singing. So you better start with me. No? Anybody wants to share anything? Where you are now? Where are you now? Do you feel like that's it, you've accomplished everything? Or you're still on that, little road, path, whatever? No? Mademoiselle at the back. Yes.
Good morning.
Good
I
morning.
feel that with life experiences, the challenges, whatever happens in your life, you grow. So every challenge shapes you in a way that makes you grow. I don't think at that age I know everything and I'm happy where I am. I still have resolutions. I still have places I want to be. And I still have things I want to do, despite my age. So I guess it applies to everybody. At the beginning of the year, we all make plans. We all have things we want to achieve. And it's a process of growing, learning, and making your life better at the end of the day.
Does everybody agree? Do you agree? You're a fantastic leader because everybody agrees. So if you say, follow me, everybody will follow you right now. Does everybody agree? Is that it? That's it? You're very quiet. Now, can you read this or not? No, they're not portraying it. Okay, if your reason made you feel lighter, you're wired towards it. Now, whatever you said earlier, if you feel much lighter, like I said, that means you are definitely ready for it, and you will definitely do it. And yes, you will do it as of the 1st of January, right? But I'd love to have your contact details later on. I'll just put a mark next to it because I will be hounding you to make sure that you do it, all right? I don't have much time left. Something else, when we say motivation, what does motivation mean to you? I don't like the word motivation, by the way. What does motivation mean to you? Yes, Marcus?
It's an internal force. You can't motivate anyone to do anything.
Thank you.
Inspire them, bully them, brutalize them, bribe them, but you can't motivate. So the key is to find the motivation that exists within them and unlock that.
That's what we're getting at. Find your why. It's not about motivation, okay? Otherwise, you're never going to actually attain what you really think that you want to attain. Not through by saying motivation. Motivation comes from identity, not goals, okay? And your wiring is your behavioral DNA. So remember that. Whatever you do, think about your why wire. Why am I doing it? How can I connect with whatever I want to achieve? And let's forget about motivation. You can't motivate yourself, okay? Let's not say I'm going to motivate myself to do something. Not going to happen. That's why most of the time when we do trainings, we say, put the word motivation aside, use inspire yourself. How can you inspire yourself? Because motivation, it won't work. You can go out there and run and throw a ball at each other and say, yes, we're motivating each other, we're going to do it at work. After 1 week, you're going to go back where you started. It does not last because, like Marcus explained to you, it is something inner. All right? Any questions whatsoever? If you're not warmed up, I'm sorry. Marcus will get you moving. Any questions about the wire? If anybody wants more information about this, I'd gladly give it to you. Any questions? Any comments? Nothing? I think you haven't had enough of coffee this morning. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm here. If you have any questions, Marcus will come up very shortly. Keep this one with me.
We're going to have a short, well, I won't say break, a little short intermission. We've just got a couple of bits and bobs to sort out, so just talk amongst yourself for 5 minutes or so.
I can use the time, actually, so that's even better.
Okay, let me put this guy off then.
So while Claude's sorting out the technical stuff, let me very quickly introduce myself. I'm Marcus Kauke. I work with my wife Suzanne. We run a company called Principled Selling. We've been in the human development and transformation space for around 25, 30 years, Under this incarnation, we're just coming up to our 22nd anniversary. And what we've learnt over those years is that wisdom is wasted on the old and youth is wasted on the young. It needs to be flipped the other way. And it's a bit of a cosmic joke. So what we tend to do is spend so much time overcomplicating things. Today is all about simplifying your life. My philosophy in business and work is do less but better on purpose and mean it. So today is really about stripping away the stuff that gets in the way. What I'd like to do before we kick off is get a sense of the room. So again, if your boss is here, obviously you want to be a bit circumspect, but tell me, who was sent as opposed to who came as a volunteer? So let's say a show of hands by sendees. Anyone sent? Right, okay. If you want to escape at any point, just feel free to go, I won't tell. Okay, and who are the volunteers? Who came here by their own will and chose to arrive? Okay, so today is about you. I know this stuff already, so I'm not going to be, I'm not in the room specifically to learn, although I always do. I want you guys to leave here feeling lighter, more in control, with less pressure. So another question, how many of you are HR managers as the majority of your role? Anyone? Ish, okay. And how many of you are line managers? So you manage people day to day and their problems become your problems. Any of that familiar to you? Okay. And what about the rest of you? Are you a bit of a mix of the two or something else? Just yell it out. It's all right. I don't bite. Individual contributor. Right. So your role is sales or something else? Lovely. Okay. Easiest job in the world, which we overcomplicate massively and make it really hard. In sales, we only have one function. And actually, it's a function of management and leadership as well, which is to empower other people to make the best possible decision that they can for themselves, that they can live with now and for a long time in the future. Would you say that's fair? Okay, so it's not about convincing people. One of the big problems is we try and convince people. You cannot convince another person of anything. They have to convince themselves. And our job is actually to get out of the way. The moment it becomes about us, our agenda, what we want, then we start to stifle their motivation. Because motivation is an internal fire. That spark comes from within the human being. It doesn't come from outside. And the moment we start trying to make it about our agenda, they'll find a way to just cut corners. I mean, how many of you have found that you hire staff and you think, oh, this is really going to work out, and they're very enthusiastic to begin with, and then all of a sudden, as they start to learn the ropes, they learn to find shortcuts and just avoid the stuff that really matters. And eventually, it starts going up the ladder to you, and you suffer from this thing called upward delegation. How many of you have staff who report to you and nothing happens unless they get your approval, or you read their stuff before it goes out, or you have to do something and your workload suddenly doubles or triples? Any of you suffer from that? Only one person or one in the past. So the rest of you, everything is perfect. I think you're a room full of liars. Okay, we know that's bullshit. Okay, the reality is, whenever you're dealing with human beings, it is messy. Yeah? Human beings don't follow the CRM system and operate in a linear fashion. And if you have a process, you can guarantee they aren't going to follow it. I mean, how many of you follow what your boss tells you to do? Yeah. Okay? So what we're going to be talking about today are ways for you to empower your people to do the work that they are paid to do, and do so in a way that means that they feel empowered. The problem is, management is not about controlling people. The best managers I know spend about 3 minutes a day managing, and the other 7 hours and 57 minutes doing important work. How many of you can make that claim? Okay. I think of a client like Silke Ahrens. Silke runs the channel, so the partnership sales for HubSpot across the EMEA region, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. She has $1 billion P&L, profit and loss, and she has 2 toddlers, and she does that job successfully in 90 minutes a day. I have another client, Adam Wilcox, who runs 5 full-time sales territories. He has toddlers as well, and he spends 90 minutes a day doing his job, and the other 5.5, 6.5 hours training for a marathon and playing with his kids and surfing. Okay? It's absolutely possible when you get out of the way. So, we all done technically? Right, lovely. So that's the clacker. Okay, fine. Let me just get used to... right, okay. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to start out with an exercise. And what I'd like you to do is, you've all been given an index card with a number on it. Keep that because that number will be useful later. But what I'd like you to do is turn to the person next to you or behind you or in front of you, and I need you to pair up. So do that first. Find a pair. Okay. Now, would you mind coming forward so that you can sit next to this gentleman? Are you Patrick by any chance? Patrick, excellent. So sit next to Patrick. Right. Now, what I would like you to do is take out a pen. And then what I want you to do, I was going to talk into the clacker. Then what I'd like you to do is say these words. Has everyone got a pen and has everyone got a partner? Yes? Okay. So what I would like you to do is say these words. I am sorry for what I'm about to do to you. Say it. Right. You now have 2 minutes to draw a portrait of the other person. Go. Patrick, do you have a pen? Give Patrick a pen, someone. Hurry, hurry, hurry. 30 seconds gone. Timer. Pencil's fine. Patrick needs one. Okay, everyone's got one. Cool. Hurry, hurry, hurry. I'm not hearing a lot of laughter. Make it as realistic or caricaturous as you like. You need to draw the other person's face. 20 seconds. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Okay, stop. Now, what I'd like you to do is show the other person the portrait. Are you feeling flattered?
I'm still trying.
Are you still trying? Okay.
Okay. So, does anyone feel that their partner is going to become the next, I don't know, probably Picasso rather than Constable? Excellent. Okay. So what I'd like you to do now is turn your chairs around and go into circles of 6 people. Okay, so the hotel staff are going to be very angry with me, but c'est la vie. And keep your cards. Brilliant. Okay, can you start handing them out? And everyone needs some flip chart paper, 3 pieces per group. One pen per group. Yep. One pen. Well, one set, either way, it doesn't make any difference. Okay. They need 3 pieces per group. Whilst you're settling down, tell me this. What are the things that really get on your nerves as managers? And I'm just going to write them down, and we're going to be able to check most of them off by the time we're done. So yell out the stuff. If you had a magic wand, and by the end of this session you could make that thing disappear forever, what would you pick? Okay? A sense of urgency. Sorry, say again? Lack of. Okay, what else? This group. If you could wave a magic wand, imagine me as your fairy godmother. Tutu, tiara, wings. What would you pick? Yell it out, because I'm a bit deaf. If you could wave a magic wand and make the thing that really bothers you go away as being a line manager, what would the magic wand make disappear? Negativity. Okay, excellent. Yep. Poor health. As in real poor health or feigned poor health? Would it be fair that sickness and absenteeism would be the thing you're really talking about? Did I hear entitlement? Yes. Oh, God, yes. The ugliest of all human qualities. Lovely. Sorry? Oh, speak up. Oh, procrastination. Yeah, we'll get to that tomorrow. Okay, and yes? Laziness. Okay. Good stuff. Boredom. Oh, very good. Lovely. Okay, so we've got quite a common list of issues that people face. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 quick exercises. So the youngest person in the group is going to be your scribe. No, it's not you, Mike. Okay, the youngest person in the group is going to be the scribe, and everyone needs to have a go at giving an opinion. Now, I've drawn on some Seychellois characters to try and bring this into context. And the reality is, people do good work, but we have to make it simple for them. So, someone else's glasses there. Right, okay. So, I'm going to butcher the Creole, so forgive me. Tout le monde envie faire bon travail, mais faudrait nous faire les simples pour autres. So, I want you to answer these 3 questions as a group. Discuss them. So, what does someone new, how does someone new learn what good looks like in the organizations you are either in or have been in the past? So that first week, that first day, how do you set them up for success? Go, discuss it. You've got 30 seconds each, and then you're going to write down your ideas. Go. How do you help them settle in? What do you wish someone had done in your first week to help you settle in, to help you be set up for success? Are we writing these down? Good. One more minute. Give everyone a piece so that they can stick it on the wall. Okay. 30 seconds. Ten, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Okay, so whoever's subscribed, please take a piece of tape from Suzanne and go and stick your poster on that wall over there. So far right hand of the stage. Okay. Yeah, you can name your team as well. Okay. Okay, I got blue tack too. Yeah, so. Right, 3 more to go up. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Is that everyone? Oh no, 1 more to go. Thank you. Okay, can you get your poster up on the wall now? Because we've got to, I'm keeping to time, otherwise Mike will tell me off for overrunning. Okay, yeah. Okay, so has everyone, Claude, another bit of paper for everybody, please. Has everyone got 3? Right, okay, in that case, the next one is the fog, Sangula. So when things aren't clear, people guess. Quand quelque chose n'est pas clair, du monde besoin suppose. So again, our job as managers is to create clarity. Ambiguity is the mother of all foobarrs. Do you know what a foobar is? Messed up beyond all recognition, but slightly more colorful. So the big question is, who really wins when others are confused? Certainly you don't. Yeah? If there's ambiguity, if there's confusion, then people paralyze, or they do what they think they should do, or they dump it on your plate. I had an accountant who was interrupted. We tracked her interruptions on a daily basis for 2 weeks. She was interrupted an average of 35 times a day. Now, your concentration takes 7 minutes just to recover when you're interrupted. So 35 times 7 is a lot. So she was working 17 to 21-hour days, 6 days a week. Within 2 weeks, she was down to a 9-hour working day, 5 days a week, and her profit doubled by doing less. Do less, but better on purpose. Intelligently lazy. That's what this section is about. So in this section, what are the tasks that get done differently depending on who's working? And is it because things are unclear at the start of the day? And if we ask 3 people in your team to explain the same task, how many of them would have exactly the same answer? Okay, so focus on question 1, which tasks are being done differently depending on who's working in your organization, and then work out what's really going on underneath. Discuss why you think that is. Is it because of lack of clarity, lack of systems, lack of direction? Okay, you've got 3 minutes on this one. Go. No, just the first question, but the other 2 questions are supporting. So, if you look at the day-to-day tasks in your team, what are the things that when people do them, they do them in their own way rather than in a structured, systematic, repeatable way, that if someone stepped into that role, they would get exactly the same outcome. So think of it like a recipe. I do happen happen to make the world's best chocolate cake, and I'm clearly the product of it. So if you follow the same recipe, same ingredients, same order, same temperature, same atmospheric pressure, and all of that, you're going to get the same result. So how do you consistently delivering the outcome that you want, as opposed to one that's... Okay. Is that clear? Good. Oh dear. No, I just got a tickle in my throat. What are the core processes that absolutely have to be done excellently and repeatedly to a specific standard? Around the edges and make shit up, basically. Yeah. Yeah. 30 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so stick them up on the wall. The next section, please. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Roll up, roll up. Team Alpha, first in line. Yeah, please. Good job. Yeah. Yeah. Hurry, hurry, hurry. 4 to go. Okay, let's get up on the wall ASAP so we can move on to the next one, please. Okay, so small problems stay small only if we catch them early. If you leave them to fester, then bad habits created. So petit problème est resté petit zis si nous attrape zot bonheur. Okay, or bonnet. So. That means something else entirely, doesn't it? So, who notices trouble before it grows? Are we encouraging people to raise problems, or do we make it difficult for them so they feel punished, they feel threatened? One of my favorite lessons is run to the sound of gunfire. Go looking for bad news. Go looking for evidence that you are wrong. If you do that, you will learn. How many of you have learned anything significant from your victories? How many of you have learned loads from your scar tissue? Right, okay. Why would you waste that perfectly brilliant gift by making it impossible for people or fearful for people to bring you problems? You want your staff to bring you problems early so it doesn't come as a nasty surprise later. So, who notices the trouble before it grows? Normally, the people stuck at the sharp end of the stick. Okay? So one of the lessons that I want you to take away from today is the person who is closest to the problem gets to redesign the process, not you. How cool is that? You get to delegate all the hard stuff, and the people closest to it get to fix it because they're the ones who have a motivation to do so. Okay, so what do the first 10 minutes of your working day feel like for you and for your staff? That's the core question. What are the small problems that keep coming back, recurring, week after week, month after month? You tell them what to do, they go away, and then a week later they're back with the same question. What gets skipped because there isn't time? In my experience, that first 10 minutes of the day, front-loading the day with what's your most important call? What's your most important activity for today? What does your plan look like? Can you show it to me? Yeah? Do you need help? Now, that is the best question any manager can ask, but your people need to feel safe asking for help, and they're not going to feel like they look bad because they're asking for help. I don't have a problem with people making a mistake. I have a real problem where the same mistake gets repeated over and over and over again. That's like beating your head against the wall and blaming the wall for your headache. Okay? So, another few minutes, 3 minutes. So, what does the first 10 minutes of your day look like at the moment? Okay, because what we're looking for here are the gaps. Are you setting them up to succeed in the day, and everybody being set up to succeed in the day? And at the end of the day, do you have a bookend wrap-up, which is, well, what did you accomplish today? What progress have we made? And it's not about going all the way to the end, to the finish line. It's about making a small incremental step each time. In sales, What we want is the customer to advance one step towards the outcome that they want, and that's good. Okay? Off we go. So, 3 minutes on this. Do the first 10 minutes look like people staring at their screen, knocking out emails, eating cereal? Thirty seconds. Okay, let's get them up on the wall, please. Hurry, hurry, hurry. I'd normally be cracking a bullwhip here, but my wife wouldn't let me bring it. Okay, let's have them up on this wall here, please. The A team's there first. That was done with a flourish, Marcus. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Don't let perfection get in the way of excellence. Let's get this poster up on the wall. Go, 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 go. Okay, so we've got them all up. No, one more. Who's not got theirs up? There we go. Right. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is all of you stand up. And if on your card you had an even number, so 2, 4, or 6, what I'd like you to do is move clockwise to the next group. Okay, so stand up. Whoop. Okay, look on that card that I gave you. What's your number? Is it 2, 4, or 6? If it is, move. If it's 1, 3, or 5, stay put. And I want you to go clockwise around the room. Okay, so if you got 2, 4, or 6, you'd go to that group, they'd go to that group. You're going to move, yeah. So 2, 4, or 6, you move. 1, 3, and 5, you stay. Excellent. Not quite working out as planned, but... Yeah, plenty. 30. Yeah, you move to the next group, yeah. And if there's more than 6, we'll work that out in a second. So, clockwise, 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 clockwise. Anti-clockwise. There you go. So people, have you noticed how people follow your actions, not your words? There you go. I did that on purpose. Yeah, absolutely. Anti-clockwise. I screwed up. My fault. My bad. But it's living proof that the person who manages or leads, they follow your actions, not what you say to them. So you have to be the example. Okay, do we have more than 6 per group? How many in this group? Please take a seat. If there's more than 6, that means someone else has got less than 6. So you got 5. So who's got 7 in the group? Has someone escaped? Mike's disappeared. There we go. Mike, come and join this group, please. Thank you. There you go. Problem solved. Okay. So sit down. Thank you. Okay, so next one. Zamba. People work best when the day feels steady, when there's stability. Du monde travaille plus bien quand la journée, non, est stable. Okay? So, the big question here is, who is strong but thrown off by sudden changes or mixed instructions? That last moment was an exact example of how you screw up. Okay? We all do it. You're human. I'm human. We're all works in progress. But if the instructions are unclear, people then get confused and it creates a stall, a bottleneck. How often are we the cause of that bottleneck? So, we want to make sure that people raise these issues and they do so in a place of safety. If they feel unsafe, and every single one of your management problems will at some point come back to fear. They fear letting you down. They fear being seen as less than. They fear of messing up. They fear the consequences of putting their hand up and saying, I think there's a problem here. Okay? So what do people avoid talking about? Because it may cause trouble for them, for someone else. And what changes if you have different supervisors or managers on a shift or duty? What helps people to learn after a mistake without fear? Okay, so focus on the first question, but fill it in with the other 2. You've got 3 minutes on that as well. Go. And quickly, who's the youngest in each of the groups? It worked again. Oh yeah, we need to give you paper, don't we? Claude, where are you? There we go. Right, hand out 2 pieces now. Thank you. So, what are people avoiding?
everywhere.
90 seconds.
Another thing that when you were here was free diving.
Yeah. Well, I've got relatively limited breath holding because of smoking for too many years. I'd like to do 30 seconds. Ten. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, stop. Take a piece of tape, whack it on the wall. Stop, put them over behind, beside Eleanor, please, for the next lot.
Unfortunately, Stefan's messed about with the lighting and things like that. That's my camera that these guys have got. It's the same camera as the one I've got. Huh? No, the same, but I thought mine was Dave's one. But it is. It goes to show you, isn't it? It was rain. But now, that chap is going to because I need to move on to the next level. Of like getting this more expensive one. Okay, so the next one. Silence is a signal. Silence est un signal. Who's often silent? Who says nothing for fear of being judged or looking foolish within your teams? Is it the most junior people? Is it experienced people who should know better? You know, what happens when people feel like they're unsafe? So what are the topics that people hold back from raising at work? What are the specific things that you know aren't working, but it's all on you because you haven't created the conditions where your people bring you those problems? What are the topics that feel hard to bring up, and why? Because someone might take it the wrong way. They may take offense, they may feel judged, they may think that you will see them as a troublemaker, or that you feel threatened by them. When do people bring problems early, and what makes that feel safe? In fact, focus on that third question. That's the better question out of the three. Okay? So when do people bring you problems early, and what makes that feel safe? Okay, off you go, 3 minutes. Three more. Yeah. And if you don't have any of those moments, what are the ones that you wish they would bring to you? One more minute. $15. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, stop writing. Get the tape, pop it on the wall by Claude, please. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Yeah, everyone needs two more sheets. Okay, so same exercise as we did last time. If you had an even number, I want you to move anti-clockwise to the group next door. Again, off you go. Stand up if you've got an even number on your card, and then change places. Go anti-clockwise. That way. Okay, how many have we got here? 3, 6, 7. If you've got more than 6 in the group, just raise a hand. You guys have got 7. Would you mind moving to that group over there, please? Yep, please. Perfect. Okay. And who else has got 7? 3, 6. Anyone else got 7? This group's got 7 as well. If could someone with the number 1 from that group? Yeah, Marcus, if you could move. There you go. Yeah, please. Okay. So next exercise. Fairness creates trust. La justice y crée confiance. So who listens? Who balances and who brings fairness? So, what makes work feel fair or unfair? What shapes who gets praise or correction? And what shapes who gets promoted? We are largely creatures of our compensation plans if we're in sales. If we want people to focus on building trust, don't create activity that forces people to be transactional. You know, in sales, when we teach people how to sell, we're always teaching them focus on the 3rd renewal, not on the first transaction. Can you imagine how different that is when you're on the receiving end as the buyer? Okay, so the same thing in general management. What is it that you're doing to create the conditions where people feel it's fair? Are you consistent, or do you play favorites? Okay. In many organizations, family-run businesses, for example, nepotism. How many of you work in family-run businesses? Okay, any nepotism occur there? Okay, what's it feel like for the staff, for the people who aren't family? Yeah? Because chances are, in all probability, you will end up losing them and they'll go to a competitor or set up on their own. And one of the complaints I heard was that, oh, well, people leave, they steal our stuff, then they leave and set up in competition. Well, look in the mirror. In all of my dissatisfying relationships, what I've realized is the one constant is me. Okay? So, what shapes who gets praise or correction, and what makes it fair or unfair to work in your organization? 3 minutes on that. Go. Catch people doing things right. Don't focus on the things that they get wrong. Focus on what they do right so it reinforces it. "30 seconds. "15. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Okay, next. So over in this corner, by me. Okay, pop your posters on the wall. Hurry, hurry, hurry. The system creates the behavior. Now, a lot of people think that putting a system in place is constraining. You might find this hard to believe, but I once did a comedy course, and what I learned was the constraint made you more creative because you had to create the jokes within a framework. And actually, that made it funnier. But our job is to create systems that shape how everything moves so that people could be as creative as they need to be within the system. It's not about trying to color outside of the lines, although we want innovation and we want their creativity to come to work. But what we really want to make sure is that the system generates the right behaviors to the right standard of work. So, bon système, il crée comportement. Okay? How are we creating systems that make it possible for people to succeed at work every day with certainty? Because as managers, how important is it to be certain that the objectives will be hit? Yeah? Don't we all crave consistency in management? We want people to show up on time, do the work to the standard intended, and finish the work. Yeah? What we don't want is that uncertainty. Uncertainty creates ambiguity, and ambiguity then leads to people feeling afraid. And it all boils back down to fear. So, what keeps the same problems coming back over and over and over again? What's keeping your system stuck? And what one change will you make tomorrow that would make life easier for you and your team? Okay, so you've got 3 minutes, off you go, and focus on question number 1 to begin with. We'll worry about question number 3 in a minute. Have you got paper? We need paper here, please. One more minute. Seconds. Ten. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you can put the final poster up on the wall by the door, on the black wall. Okay. Hurry, hurry, hurry. So, in your groups, go round from clockwise this time. Okay? And whoever's got a 1 on their card, make sure everyone's got a 1. If not, a 2 is the next one. Okay, so go clockwise around the group. What is the one lesson you're going to take away from today that you're going to implement within the next 24 hours? Well, what day is it today? Thursday. Yeah, within the next 24 hours. Okay, so what's the one lesson? What's the one lesson that you're going to take away from today that you're going to actually implement within 24 hours? And don't make it something big or massive or risky, because you want to make sure it's low risk so you can reverse it if it goes wrong. What's the one lesson that you're going to take away from today? Okay, go around the room, be very quick. You've got no more than 10 seconds to say what your lesson is. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Say it to the group and then write it down. No, don't worry about that. Do that later. Fine, otherwise we'll run out of time. What lessons will you take away from today's session? And then, yeah? Writing them down on a piece of paper. Yeah. All right, yes, sorry. Hurry, hurry, hurry. There should be 6 lessons in the next couple of minutes. One lesson that you personally will take away and implement within 24 hours. So I need 6 lessons from this group. Who's next? 6 lessons from the group. Okay, has everyone put 6 lessons down? You need to put your lessons on the page, 1 lesson per person from each group. And when you're done, stick them up on that wall between the camera and the sound system. So, that wall. Okay. Hurry, hurry, hurry. So, lessons from scar tissue. Create clarity and simplicity. Make work simple to do right. If people need to guess, you have a clue that your system is broken. So write things down so that the job isn't different depending on who's doing the job, and teach what good looks like. Practice it. So for example, if you're in a shipping business, spend 10 minutes in the morning teaching them how to sharpen their knife. If you've got 60 people cutting open boxes, having a sharp knife, that can save 10, 15, 20 minutes per person per day. You suddenly claw that time back. So be really clear. And in fact, a really excellent exercise, if you're brave enough to do it, is have everybody write down their real job description. Not the one you sold them, not the one they thought they bought, but the job they actually do every day. Because it'll probably highlight a whole load of things that you didn't realize were going on. Ownership and learning. Coach, don't tell. Every time you answer a question from one of your team, you steal a learning opportunity. That's a really interesting question. If I wasn't here, what would you do? Coach them. Don't tell them how to do it. Every time, let the person closest to the cause of the problem or the impact of the problem be the person who designs the system to fix it. Okay, they know better than you. And don't rescue people from discomfort. Be okay with the silence. Ask a question and then shut up. On average, people cannot resist the silence without filling it with the sound of their voice for between 4 and 11 seconds. And salespeople, they can only manage it for 0.6 of a second. How many of you have been sold to by somebody and there was a moment of silence and then they started just carrying on talking? Okay? So don't rescue them from the discomfort, guide them through it. Now, safety, truth. Go looking for the bad news. Run to the sound of gunfire. Go looking for evidence that you are wrong. You cannot teach somebody who thinks they already know everything. Okay? So start adopting the child mind. Be curious. Be interested, not interesting. And when people hide their problems, it's because they fear the reaction. What you project out gets reflected back. And silence is a signal. Treat it as information as valuable as someone putting up resistance. And don't see silence as defiance. Don't see people challenging the status quo as defiance. And praise honesty. Praise it early, praise it often, and it keeps the problem small. And be kind to the people and hard on the process. Yeah? How often, who's actually worked with a manager or a boss or a founder who was punitive? They punished people who spoke up or resisted. I certainly have. Yeah? What does it do? It just discourages you from actually opening your mouth, and then everything gets lowered to the lowest common denominator instead of elevating it to the highest level of potential. So people follow the conditions that you create. So there are 3 advanced rules for managers who really want to level up. In the special services, they teach slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So don't rush the process. Take your time, okay? And teach them in increments. Don't try and get them to eat the whole elephant at once. Just one mouthful at a time. Predictability beats intensity. So we said there's no sense of urgency. Well, why would we want a sense of urgency when we can create consistent performance? Okay? If people know that is the hill that they need to conquer, allow them to work out the how and coach them to it. And if the team only moves when you're in the room, the system isn't working, and you might be the problem. Okay? So, if you want to get 3 very powerful tools to help you make work more predictable and less stressful, then send me your 3 lessons from today so you don't have to admit it in a public forum, and one that you'll implement this week to that email address, and I'll send you 3 assets that will help you. Okay? And that's me done. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Marcus. There you go, folks. The infamous Marcus Kalki. And if you put some of these things that he's actually suggested into practice, I don't think your business will ever be the same. He's certainly a person that changed my life 20 years ago. That's why I'm standing here today. If it wasn't for Marcus, I may not have been standing here today. But I'm going to...
Sorry, Claude, can I make one point? Who did all the work, by the way? Was it you or me? Exactly. There you go.
What I'm going to do, actually, in a typical Marcus Kalki style, I'm going to put you all on the spot. One lesson, only one lesson that you got from him. Anybody on this side? One lesson.
One lesson. To empower people.
Lovely. Fantastic lesson. If Claude gives you the microphone, you don't want to do it.
Create the system, let the people do the job.
Brilliant. Create a system that other people can follow, but co-create it with them. Better still, have them.
Create clear systems. Create clarity in your systems.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Fantastic.
All right, over this side.
Communication is key.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I've done my job. I'm very happy with that.
One lesson.
No, you have it. No, I can't do it.
Life is endless learning.
That's a good one.
Life is endless learning.
Absolutely. Endless learning. You're never the finished article. The moment you think you're the finished article, there's an expression. If you're right, you rot. And if you're green, you grow. Yeah? Be endlessly curious. Last one?
Okay, go on. One lesson.
Clarity and simplicity.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So, thank you so much. Go off and be brilliant.
Great. Thank you very much, folks.
By yourselves and Marcus, it was all about motivating people at work, and some people are more motivated than others. Now, the person who came up with the original manual for what motivates people at work is a guy called Maslow. It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it's well accepted, and Marcus was explaining to me yesterday there's more and more original stuff. So that was good learning for me, so I can learn up on, there's newer stuff and better stuff than this. But I strongly recommend that, when you leave here, you look up Maslow's hierarchy of needs and just see what it says. It's very simple, because it starts at the bottom. The most basic things we need are food and shelter and security and so on. Up at the top, what really motivates people at work are 2 things. And I'll paraphrase them slightly. I'll go to a different color. First is, somebody asks you where you work. Hopefully you'll get some peer respect. Oh, you work at the Eden Blue Hotel. That must be marvelous. What a great hotel. It must be great working there. So people start to say, oh, that must be great. what you do. And the other one is making a difference. So, to use the Eden Blue Hotel, I work at the Eden Blue Hotel, and if I have a good idea for something, maybe we'll have a different light or something, people listen to me. Maybe we do it, maybe we don't. So those are the two key drivers that show that people are motivated where they work. Because I'm sure I don't have to say it here, but if you hate what you do, please get another job. I mean, I meet people, and Marcus has met many people, I'm sure. They're at work, they hate what they do, they hate their boss, they hate this. You know, they are miserable, and they're probably taking it out on their families. So we all dream of working somewhere where you feel happy, because as many people have said, including Thomas Edison, if you love what you do, you'll never do a day's work in your life. You know, going to work isn't a chore. It's like, oh, I'm going to work now, it's great, I'm going to do stuff. Now, for me, I travel a lot, and I speak at a lot of conferences. But the biggest response I get on social media when I say I'm going to has been the last 2 days. I said, oh, next I'm going to Seychelles to do a conference again. And okay, some people are a bit, it's raining here, you know, that's made me angry. But most people are like, wow, that must be amazing. And it is, because I know the place really well. I study the Seychelles, I study the politics, how that works, what the industries are. What people are doing, and everybody I was in a group with, I was a bit rude. I was saying, so what is it you do, and what is it you do, and tell me about your job, and you know, I'm an accountant for the Seychelles Transport, and you know, I'm just fascinated by people, because I really agree with what Marcus said, which is the number one thing in life, generally, and especially, well, quick show of hands, who's got children? Who's got children? There we go, children. Children of the future, as that great philosopher, Whitney Houston said. So, curiosity is everything. There we go, I'll leave it down there. Curiosity. If you're curious, you learn stuff. If you're curious, you get engaged. And it's an old saying, and many people have said this before me, is that when you're young, you're curious. So what's this? What's that? Mummy, Daddy, you know, what's happening here? Then you get to school, it's shut up and sit down. And they try and beat it out of you. There's some great educators like Sir Ken Robinson, we were talking about him last night, who's saying, that's why education is so bad. The teachers are teaching rules and da-da-da-da, getting curiosity out of people. So a lot of what I do as an entrepreneur is show people how to be curious and, yeah, why exactly is this the way it is? And why do we do that? And maybe we can do the other. Curiosity is everything. So if you're curious about something, the good news now is you can look it up. I mean, the internet has been there for hundreds of years. So you can always, you know, I'll look up that Maslow, you know, Google Maslow. Now, it's got to the next level. As you probably noticed, there's this thing called artificial intelligence, AI. Now, you've all heard of it, and it's many things to different people. I know people that are writing software using AI. These are really quite technical people. But at the simplest level, you can use artificial intelligence for free by downloading one of the applications and just asking it questions like, I did this last week, what are the big industries in the Seychelles? And it told me, oh, there's tourism, there's fisheries, there's this, there's that, and the other. It's taking it from different places. If you want a tip for one of them, because there's several, the one I use is a thing called DeepSeek. DeepSeek. Now, this is the one that was invented by the Chinese. And this really has scared the Americans because they thought, we're the top of everything, AI, da-da-da-da. The Chinese got onto it, and it's really good. Now, you always have to double-check anything you find on artificial intelligence because it isn't 100% correct yet. So what you might do, if it's a really important bit of information, is do it on one application, go on another one like ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, and just double-check it. But it is very informative, because what it does is if you ask what are the biggest businesses in the Seychelles, or what are the leading industries in the Seychelles, it gives you a list, and I'm pretty sure if I did it on several of them, it would come up with the same list. Some things it's not so accurate about, so you need to be careful. But this is a research tool for free that anybody can use. Now, I'm very interested in technological innovation. That's all I've ever done. I was at the right place at the right time. Back in 1983, I was a bit miserable in Liverpool selling scaffolding. I wasn't very good at it, and our scaffolding wasn't very good. And two of my friends I'd done a theatre show with in Edinburgh said, oh no, you don't want to be selling scaffolding. You want to be getting involved in selling training in the Unix operating system. I said, what's the Unix operating system? They said, we'll explain later. But me and Andy, we're two of the leading experts in the world in it. There were 100 people who knew about this thing, Unix, and they were two of them. They'd written a book about it called Unix the Book. And they were university lecturers by then, and they were going to teach people what this Unix thing was. Because Unix was what became the internet. It connected computers of all different companies, and so I was showing people email. I know you'll laugh now. People say, email? That's witchcraft. How can you send an email to somebody at the other side of the world and get an instant response? You're faking this, you know. Email. That was the big innovation. That's why everybody got into it. Then you got, of course, you got the internet, so it's a big network of computers. Then you got the web, which is on this big network of computers. There's lots of websites with stuff on it. You can research things, and it's like a huge encyclopedia. And of course, oh, we got Amazon now. You can buy anything you want, and da-da-da-da-da. So you've all been through the internet, and you've all been through the web, and then there was a dot-com boom, and a lot of madness and silly inventions. In my opinion, this artificial intelligence thing will be bigger than both of those together times about 500. It is a huge dislocation in the market. A lot of big companies that you'll have heard of are at risk. And I include Amazon and Google and Facebook in that. If they get it right, good for them. If they don't, they could be out of business in days. But for you as consumers, if you use Amazon a lot, suddenly there was something which is, oh, you know, Amazon, that was really good, we're even better. It uses artificial intelligence to help you find things. And I'm working with entrepreneurs in different places who are working on things which will make your life better. So you can actually find something on the internet, because it's a huge thing, you can't do it. Because allied to this, we're now coming out of a recession into another boom time. You're familiar with this, there's boom and bust, boom and bust. It's been going on since well, we're talking about the 1840s, you know, 1929, big recession, the Wall Street crash, and so on and so forth. Being old, I've been through about 5 or 6 of these, and I can spot the signs. It's suddenly, boom, new thing, let's make lots of money, be creative, new companies. Then there's a bust. And it's all driven by the stock market, which is a very dangerous place, in my opinion. Some of you may be good at the stock market. I'm not. I realize that it's a bunch of rules that other people are in charge of, a bit like horse racing or gambling in a casino. You know, you might win, but there's somebody above you in the evolutionary scale who's probably winning more. But I just go with the flow. If it's a boom time, I'm really creative. If it's a recession time, it's all about cutting costs and being more sensible at business and looking at the margins. And so I just, you know, you follow these waves. So we just come out of one, which is then made a lot worse by the whole COVID lockdown. We all went through that. I don't need to talk to you about it. But we've come out of that now. There may be another one. But COVID changed everything from the way people work, especially in UK, where I come from. Now it's, why should I go to the office? You're quite happy for me to be at home working away. Why should I get on a bus or a tube and go to the office and sit there and then wait till the bell rings and I can go home? It's changed the way people do work. But one thing that hasn't gone away is, of course, the need to communicate with human beings. Some people are really happy at home just doing clever computery stuff, writing software, doing this and the other, delivering it, or measuring things. That's absolutely great. But our son falls into this category. He's a data analyst for Standard & Poor's. He goes into the office more than most people because he understands that, you meet your bosses, you talk to your bosses, you can do stuff. They are so nice to him because they give him a good salary. Also, I don't know what it's like in the Seychelles, but he has as much holiday as he wants. There's no, you only get 20 days. If he wants to go off for 6 months, he can, but of course he probably wouldn't last there very long. They give him money for welfare. So he plays hockey, so that gets paid for. Because they like him, they give him a good quality of work, but it's none of this, you have to go to an office and get there at 9 o'clock if you don't, you're in trouble. Because some businesses, you have to have good timekeeping. Like a hotel, you can't have people saying, I'll turn up in a couple of hours, but we've got guests arriving. But we're going through a really curious time. So all we need to do is to find our own place in this huge dislocation and the opportunities, and then work with that. Now, anytime I do a talk, I'm obviously fascinated by, well, who's in the audience. You know, because it could be kids in a school, it could be at university. As Claude said, I taught at university for a couple of years, full time. And you just need to know your audience. So I've been working really hard, talking to Claude, talking to you, talking to everybody, saying, and I always ask the first question. You'll remember me doing it if you spoke to me. Because the first question you always do when you're just networking or whatever, you meet somebody at one of Claude's events, the first question you always ask is, where are you from? It's a good question, it gets the thing going. So you say you're from wherever, I say I'm from London. It gets the conversation going. But there's more to it than that, because in the room, I know there are many Seychellois, and I love you all, it's fabulous. But there's plenty of people who did not grow up here. They've arrived here for some reason. But let me give you a quote. And this is from some very ancient logic. And this is something I think about all the time. So I'll write it up just for effect. And it's a quote that I didn't come up with. It's in some very, I'll tell you what it is if we sit and have a chat. Nature has implanted in your breast, in your heart, in your breast, a sacred, I'll put that in capitals, and indissoluble connection, some people put it stronger, connection with the land of your infant birth and nurture. So it's basically saying is, when you became sentient, you suddenly realized, oh, my name is Mike, I'm a boy, or a girl or whatever, and I live in England, and I'm English or something. I live in London, or near London. So that never leaves you, even when you go and live somewhere else. Because if I can just have a very quick show of hands, hands up please for the Seychellois here. You were born and you grew up here. Can I just see a show of hands? You're Seychellois. Just put your hands up. I'm not going to talk to you, don't worry. There you go. Then put your hands down. Now the rest of you who were born and grew up somewhere else, please put your hands up now. Okay. Now, keep them up. And so when I mention a country, because I've heard a few, you can put your hand down. So I just want to see who else is here. I haven't talked to them. So first people I spoke to were from, well, there's Marcus from the UK. There we go. So you can put your hands down. If you're from UK, thank you. Same as me. We can talk about London. Okay, hands up again if you're not from the Seychelles originally. No, big and high, come on, be bold. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to come and make fun of you. So put your hands down if you're from, first thing I heard was Ukraine. Then Russia. Then, well, you're UK, so I know you. So I think I've got everybody. But see, that's a good place to start. Because in the Seychelles, there's 100,000 people, as you really well know. And I'm told, or I found out on deep search, that there's about 10% living abroad for whatever reason. Now that's called a diaspora. That's a technical term. All the Seychellois who, for whatever reason, have decided to live abroad. And of course, the Seychelles government is saying, you'll be very welcome to come back anytime you want, I hope, if they haven't upset anybody, and bring whatever it is you learned in UK or wherever it is, and bring that back to the Seychelles and add value, because you've had wider experience. Because some of you, of course, will grow up in the Seychelles, stay here all your life, maybe never even travel. That's your choice. But for our children, the best thing our son does is organize ski trips, goes abroad with his girlfriend, sees different cultures. He's very lucky he's got the resources to do it. But he always comes back refreshed, and he'll always have stories about, oh, we were just in Spain, or we were just in Switzerland, and they were different there, and it's things like that. Broadens the mind. Travel broadens the mind. You would all be incredibly welcome in London any time. If you come to London, please let me know. I know the place inside out. Whatever it is you want to see, I can show you. So that's something I would just be delighted. I love showing people around London, you know, the touristy places or the more obscure places. But this is how our life is. You end up being born somewhere. You can have your parents. You may or may not get on with them. I was lucky I got on very well with my parents. Then you travel, you do stuff. then you look at your children and you want them to be curious. So whatever you can do to get them to travel is a good thing. You'd all agree with that? And, you know, sometimes you take them, sometimes they go off their own volition. But I know there's a scheme here for some of the brightest kids who want to study in UK. There's somebody I know, their son was a marine biologist or wanted to be a marine biologist. The Seychelles government helped him come to UK on the deal that he comes back and he's now on one of the islands doing marine biology. Now that is almost perfect. He's a young guy, he's a little bit shy. He's less shy now he's been to UK. And he's going to come back and do amazing marine biology in one of the world's leading areas for that. Because that's one of the things you're famous for. So that's almost a perfect story. So this is how you grow up. Then the first thing you probably do is get a job. You may go to university, then you get a job. And it may be a job for a Seychelles with one of your companies, the transport company or an insurance company or all the different companies you have here. They join at a young age. And they're young and they don't know anything. And then they might start finding some of these problems. Because all you want in life, would you agree, is a good boss. That's where it starts. If your boss is good, is kind, listens to you, helps you when you need it, gives you a bit of advice and says, oh, don't do that, you know, we're not supposed to do that. That's kind of the dream, because the industry you work in is kind of a little bit irrelevant. It could be marine biology, it could be, just animal feed I was just hearing about, you know, it could be farming, it could be anything, it could be a store. If you're in a store and you've got the worst boss in the world, that's the worst thing, not in this case. But if you've got a bad boss, you could work for somewhere like Apple, which is a great company, and have a miserable time. So when you're young, you're looking for an opportunity to learn how to work for a nice company and learn stuff in an industry that you're hopefully interested in. Because tomorrow we're doing, and I don't know, Claude, they can all come tomorrow, can't they? Where's Claude? Can't see him. Yeah, they can all just say, I want to come tomorrow after what Mike said. You'll be fine with that, wouldn't you? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, tomorrow, Claude said, oh, we got lots of teenagers coming. I thought, fantastic. Here are young people that want to learn about entrepreneurship. And so I'll be speaking to them like I'd speak, obviously, to a teenager, different to somebody who started 5 businesses. That's a different conversation. Now, these people, I'd say, well, don't start a business immediately. That's quite hard and you're young, you're inexperienced, you don't have a good network. Maybe the first thing you do in your 20s is work for companies. Find out. You're not going to steal their ideas and start them in competition with them. That's bad manners, to be honest. But you're going to learn some stuff, build up your skills, decide maybe I don't want to work in the transport industry, I want to work in a different industry. But you see here, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to work out. I didn't need to look it up on Deep Search, which is your number 1 industry is tourism. That makes sense, doesn't it? Here, people come here, they want to spend money, have a fabulous time. It could be nature, because I was speaking to the lady who does the marketing. It could be nature, it could be activities, you know, whatever it is you want, it's here. Lovely beaches, it's a lovely warm place, and the people are friendly, and the hotels are lovely. Now, tourism really works for you as an individual if you like tourists. If you hate tourists, it's probably a bad industry to be in. Or what we have in places like Spain, they've had so many drunk English people turning up, they now hate tourists and say, go away, you've ruined Barcelona. So that is clearly something going horribly wrong. So my advice to these young people is I can give them the tools for entrepreneurship, how to develop an idea and do some stuff. I would say, well, go and work for a nice company, work for a good boss who can solve any of the problems you see around the walls here, have a lovely time, and then one day you may start your own business. One day you might be a manager in that company. One day you might go abroad and do stuff, or you'll be responsible for getting people from Seychelles to come here. So let me just, this is my timekeeping thing here, which is, oh, no, it's a Claude, technical problem, need it rebooted, because I'm trying to keep to time, so that's an important thing. So, if there's a purpose to work, it's again, something I got, it's something I've just taken from some ancient writings. Oh, it's 2230, oh right, great, that's perfect. So, and this particular bunch of people says, we are here to be happy and communicate happiness. Now, that almost sounds too good to be true. Wouldn't it be great if I go to work, I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to communicate happiness, the joy I have doing whatever it is I do here in Seychelles. So that's our dream, that's our aspiration. So how do we get there? Well, I'll take a drink of water, and I'll tell you how we get there, the first step. This is true for the teenagers, it's true for you, whatever age you are, whatever experience you've had, is the most important human learning is the knowledge of yourself. That's where it starts. You just think, who am I, and what am I good at, and what am I bad at? And if I go into a company, what do I do, and what will I sometimes have to do, but I won't enjoy so much? Self-awareness is everything. You'd agree with that. And there's many tools and techniques. You can work out who you are. Now I've been doing this so long, I can almost, when I speak to somebody, I can work out, what part of an organization they should work in, what would be their favorite job, what would be their worst job. Because in our book, which Claude was very kind to mention, we summarize business in a very simple way. Now, sometimes I'm criticized. Mike, you make it seem too simple. I say, no, that's my job. If I was going to make it too complicated, you'd lose interest, or it'd be too complicated. You can't, what did he say? I don't know what it is. Because one of the things we say in our book, and you'll have heard me say it before if you've met me before, is that business is simple. Business is simple. Now, we don't mean it's not long hours and hard work. Of course it is. You're working into the night because something's happening or a customer's been difficult or whatever. But if something goes wrong, and I'm sure Marcus would agree with me on this, and Eleanor, that if something's gone wrong, it's that there's a really simple, I can see what's gone wrong pretty quickly. I mean, he picks up business problems all the time. Here's what's going wrong. You've got too much CRM or whatever it is. And the solution is always theoretically very simple. Or get rid of the CRM or have a better system. And he helps people, not overcomplicate their life. So business is simple. Because I've been in sales all my life, as you can probably tell. And I've sold lots of stuff, and I've tried to sell other stuff, and sometimes I've been successful, sometimes I haven't. All the big sales that I ever did or was involved in happened like that. I did all the things that Marcus said. I listened to what the customer actually wanted, not just try and sell them, I've got pens, or what are your writing needs, or maybe you need something different, you need a coffee machine. Listen to the customer, give them what they want. And as Marcus so rightly said, they make their own mind up. Yeah, do you know what, I'll buy what Mike's selling. For two reasons. One, I need that, and he was listening, and yeah, I knew if he produces one of those, that'll really help me. But also, I rather like Mike. He seems like a nice chap. He's not just trying to sell me something to make a commission. Being liked is very important. So business is simple, but it starts with self-awareness. So when I was teaching undergraduates, I just explained to them, there's only 3 jobs in business. So let me take an example of a business. So I spoke to, wherever it's Hervé. Where's Hervé? Could you please put your hand up? Hervé, right. Hervé, you probably know him. His family was in agriculture, and one of the things he does is animal feeds. Do you mind if I use that as an example? Animal feeds. Well, that kind of makes sense. There's an animal, it's hungry, you feed it. There we go. So there's 3 jobs to do in your business, and this is so basic, you'll just laugh. One is delivery. We have to produce animal feed, because somebody said, I love some animal feed. Somebody has to make it, formulate it, whatever the magic is, and there it is. So somebody's got to be in charge of that. It's all technical. It's like, well, we need a bit more oats or a bit less wheat or whatever it is in your business. Then, of course, there's sales. Who has a cow? Oh, you've got a cow. Oh, you need some animal feed. Well, I might do, Mike. So you should have our animal feed. It's better than anybody else's, and I'll explain why. And do you really need it? And I've got a really good supplier. Well, let me see if I can work out whether we'd be a better supplier. And the clue in sales is I'm saying, do you know what? I think your supplier of animal feed is perfect for you. So I'm not going to say just buy it because I'm going to get upset or whatever. It's like, but if you ever have a problem, give me a shout. I mean, that's how sales works. It's really simple. So somebody's got to go out and sell. So that'll be my job for you. Mike, you're selling animal feed. So, right, give me a couple of weeks to work out what's involved and tell me the tips and tricks and the elevator pitch and all of that. Then finally, there's finance. So we sold Patrick 1,000 rupees worth of animal feed. Did we make any money on it? What was the margin like? Could we have had a cheaper oat and therefore make a bit of a better margin? Or would he have paid more for a really high quality one with with, I don't know, raspberries in it or something, you know. Sales, delivery, finance, the only 3 jobs in business. Now, I put it to you that in your soul is being good at one of those. Naturally, you're born with it. Maybe you got it from your parents, maybe you learned it. But me, obviously, that's my favorite one. I can do that, and occasionally I have to do that. So sales, delivery, finance, once you understand what you're good at, of course, if I work for Hervé, it's like, yeah, sometimes we've got you out selling, Mike, but no, we need you to formulate a new feed. Sorry, there's nobody else. And you've got to do the spreadsheets. You know, work out, did we make a margin? So get all the spreadsheets out. No CRM, you're absolutely right, Marcus. Sales, delivery, finance. Now, the way we label people who we discover are good at one of those things is very straightforward. We say, if you're good at delivery, you're what's called a maker. That's just a word we use in the book, a maker. You're the kind of person, probably quite technical. Yeah, I've been looking at oats and I've been studying on the internet. I thought, well, there's a different way, or maybe there's a different way of doing it and that would be better and the cows will be healthier at the end of it and so on and so forth. That's a maker. That's very important. Because if you're delivering a product or service, it's got to be good. We make microphones. They better be good microphones. Somebody has designed this and made it work and get the Wi-Fi going. Then somebody who's good at sales is somebody who is hopefully fun and interesting to talk to, not just about work. We call them a magnet. And they're, you know, extrovert people, typically salespeople. And it's like, hey, you know, let's talk about animal feed because, you know, you got more cows. I heard you got more cows. Somebody told me. So we got to talk about animal feed. Animal feed is fascinating. And sometimes you say, Mike, thank you, but, you know, maybe in a couple of weeks. But if it's like, yeah, let's talk about animal feed because you're funny, you know, or whatever. Then finance is, how much are we charging him? Would he pay more if it was good quality? Or if he's always saying, look, your stuff's just too expensive. I mean, no offense, Mike, but your animal feed is more expensive than this other animal feed, which our people say is just as good. So we've got a spreadsheet thing to do, and that is called a monitor. Now, sometimes when you ask people, what's your role in your organization, you discover immediately what they are. So I spoke to somebody who's responsible for fixing the buses or whatever it is here in Seychelles. They are clearly a maker. Bus doesn't work, go and fix it. That's a maker type job. Whereas a magnet is somebody saying, oh, if you're coming to Seychelles, you must go on the buses. It's better than getting a taxi. It's really fun and they're really reliable. And it's nice seats. Maybe there's air conditioning, maybe there isn't. And then monitor is, it's a cheaper way of doing it. If you want to spend a lot of money, get a taxi. Yeah, why not? It's lovely and it's personal and they turn up. But if you want to, you know, a nice cheap trip around the Seychelles, see lots of stuff, go on the bus. So maker, magnet, monitor. And you all fit into this in some respect. And if I speak to you, I can probably guess what it is you prefer to do. But the sad reality is in every given working day, you have to do all 3. Sometimes you're saying, hey, get some animal feed. Sometimes it's we better make the animal feed better because he's saying that some of the cows have developed indigestion. Or sometimes it's let's see if we can work at the margins. Also fitting into monitor is the most important thing in business when you start out. This is what I'll tell the teenagers tomorrow. Because when you go to work, the thing they're looking out for, and it's been mentioned a lot by people and whatever, the first and most important rule is time keeping. Because people say to me, well, Mike, you know, you talk about this, you talk about that, but in the Seychelles we have an island culture and people are always late. Would you agree with that? Some people are always late. We know our friends, it's a dinner, come to dinner, they're always late. That drives me crazy. And if you're an employer and somebody's really good at what they do a good job here, but they never turn up on time for whatever reason, they've always got an excuse, you can't deal with it. It's like, look, you're great at what you do, but you know, I've warned you 2 or 3 times. If you are consistently late, I will have to let you go. It's a tragic thing to do, because again, they've always got a brilliant reason. I mean, our friends who turn up late to dinner every time. I played in bands all my life. I had a drummer who was always late for the bus, the tour bus. And he always had an excuse. It was never his fault, it was traffic, you know. I got rid of it in the end, I couldn't stand it. And, because I remember, I was teaching at a university, as I told you, and I was doing tutorials. And the deal was you get half an hour, 6 of you, in a group, and you come and see me, and you've got to be absolutely on time because I'm behind a security thing, so get there a bit early, so you're there in time, then you see me, because if you're late, you'll only get 10 minutes or something. So made sure you've got to be punctual. And of course, some of the students didn't turn up, were late, whatever. However, I came out from where I was to get the next group, and there's a lady there, student, stood up, and there was 4 people like this, 5 people like this, obviously terrified of her. And she said to me, "We did what you said, Professor." I said, "I'm not a professor, but thank you. We did what you said. You remember when you said, for an important meeting, you turn up 15 minutes early? So we were here 15 minutes in advance." They were like, yes, we were. We're scared of her. In sales, you will lose sales if you turn up late. I mean, sorry to lecture on sales. It's kind of what I do. So I said to this lady, "You've never been late for anything in your life, have you?" She's 21 years old. She said, "Oh no, I'm Swiss. We are Swiss here. We're never late for anything. And my friends, it drives me crazy when people turn up late and get angry, my friends, whatever." And these poor people were kind of a little bit scared of her, but they turned up on time and it worked out well. Then I asked her, this is a sales story, it says in your little note here that you work in a shirt shop at Liverpool Street Station. She said, "That's what I do in my spare time. I do it for fun," or maybe she needed the money, I don't know. And I said, "Well, what's it like?" She says, "Easiest job I've ever had." Because what she said was, this is something which will help the people in retail. If somebody comes in on their own, just looking at the shirts, they're probably just browsing, going to wait for the train. If it's 2 people, hooray, because they're going to make a decision. And you work out which one it is who's going to make the decision, and you concentrate on them. So the traditional model, and apologies if this offends everybody, it's some don't mean saying, "Do we have to go for shirt?" "Yeah, we're going for shirts here." "Right, which shirt do you like?" "This shirt, that shirt." My wife, my dear lady wife, will be the person in charge of the process. So she would know to sell to my wife, and are we looking for an expensive shirt or a cheap shirt? It's the same with cars, because all shirts are identical. So timekeeping is everything. So it's going to be a dilemma for you if you say, come tomorrow and you meet a bright young Seychellois, and you think, "Oh, they're really cute. Oh, you do animal feed. That's fascinating. I love cows," or something. And you say, "Great, well, okay, you can come and work here and we'll teach you everything. But, sorry, the deal is you have to turn up on time." And if they don't, because it's a well-known saying that in life, certainly in business, there are 2 sorts of people. Those who get it, the big it, whatever it is, and turn up on time and do a good job, and when they make a mistake, they admit it, and all those good things you mentioned over here. There's those who never get it. And it's sometimes tragic, because they really should have a job, and they've got kids and whatever. But you run businesses, a lot of you, or you run departments, and you can't have passengers. Certainly not in an environmental company, in an entrepreneurial company, where, there's only a few of you, and, we could go broke next week if we don't sell anything or whatever. So timekeeping is everything. But once you understand which of these you are, you know what your strengths and weaknesses are. So if I take myself as an example, I'm a magnet off the scale. So I do this for a living. It's a perfect job for a magnet. I get to stand up here and talk about myself, and I get flown here, and my friends are really envious, and so I'm really happy doing this. I could do this all day. I won't. That's why I'm looking at the time. I'm going to keep absolutely to time, because otherwise, I've broken a big law here. So I love doing this, where some people for this would be their worst nightmare. Standing up in public, speaking to people. I'm sure some of you are in that category. My dear lady wife, who is, a saint, she has to deal with me all the time. She can do it. She has done it, speaking in public. But remember, we were doing a charity thing where all she had to do was to stand up and say, "Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your charitable donations. I'll see you in the bar." That's really the speech. 6 months rehearsal, 6 months recovery, because it wasn't her favorite thing. Whereas me, if I'm not speaking, it's like, "Claude, can I speak again? Can I come back next week and do another talk?" No, we've heard enough, thank you. So my problem is, if I'm being a bad magnet, I talk too much and don't listen. And I had that beaten out of me 5 years ago. Mike, listen to what the customer said. A good maker really understands the technical details. And I do a lot of work in high technology. So I do a lot of work in Estonia. And this is all software companies and AI and all sorts of fantastic stuff. And I meet all the techie people. You have no idea what they're saying most of the time, and some of them are not that good with humans, really. They're good at software, and they try and explain what they've done. I can't understand it. But if you're obsessed with detail, it's never quite good enough. It's never ready. I mean, I've got a friend, and he's a dear friend now, who might sell his company to Amazon or a similar company. And if he does, and I'm there with him on meetings, he will get a phenomenal amount of money because he solves a big problem that Amazon or an online retailer has by using this artificial intelligence. I won't tell you what it is. It's a secret, but it's stunning. And he keeps saying to me in the pub, you know, the software doesn't work that well. I say, it works well enough they're interested. I've sold software all my life. None of it worked that well. But, you know, we got it to work eventually. But the point is, he will make a sale, if he does, because Amazon want it and they don't want the other people to have it. Maybe they'll mess it up. There's a big history of people buying things. You've heard of Skype. That was a bunch of Estonians. A lot of them are Estonians. They sold it to Microsoft and it's now dead. And it was the term you used for, oh, I'll Skype you next week. So that was messed up. So he will make a lot of money quickly from either Amazon or one of their competitors, basically so the other person doesn't get it. And that's what happened when we sold our company in 1989. There was 150 of us, Unix wizards. And the people said, well, we'll buy you. And I said, great. They said, how much do you want? I said, well, make us an offer. So they gave us an offer, 1 times revenue. Because that's what we did with service companies. They said, no, we want 10 times revenue. They said, are you mad? We said, yes. Oh, we're never paying 10 times revenue. Are you out of your mind? He said, okay, we're leaving now really slowly. We're going to go to your biggest competitor. What's that? You want us to come back? We did a deal for 6 times in about a day. And that was life-changing money. So I went from being poor to being rich pretty well in 2 days. But I have to tell you that money does not make you happy. Certainly makes misery more comfortable. No, that's a joke. No, it was a fabulous time. It was a great company. I miss it to this day. Obviously, we had to tell our staff we'd sold the company, and it was a surprise to them, and some were a bit angry, but they did forgive us. So that's a story I'll tell you over a coffee or a beer. So, how have we got? So I just looked at the light. I can't actually see what it says there. Let me just check. 4 minutes 26. Sorry, I looked into the light, so that's my problem. I've got another 4 minutes. So, are you a magnet maker or monitor? Because once you know what you are, here's the last piece of advice I'll give with you, which is, in life, the universe, relationships, everything, find a foil, as it's called. You'll have heard me say this before. Find somebody with the opposite set of skills to you. So in the case of our book, I'm the guy that's had the experience. Chris West, my best friend from school, is a writer. So it's a magnet and a maker. My dear lady wife is a monitor. She understands money, thank heavens, otherwise I'd be bankrupt by now. I've no idea where it comes from, where it goes. The spreadsheet gives me shingles pretty well. She does all that stuff. And you often see that all the great entrepreneurial teams of the past had a magnet and either a maker or a monitor. So you find your foil. So once you know you're a magnet, a maker, or a monitor, you find the opposite. You need an optimist, an extrovert, somebody like me. It's going to be great, you know, new stuff, AI, you know. Then you sort of say, well, yeah, but the problem is. Now you can find your foil by just working out what they are. But here is my final gift for you, and it is a gift. It's not like I'm trying to sell you anything, because on my site, if you go to, I'm going to give you all a little postcard in a minute. It's got my website on it, www.mikesouthern.com. You go there, there's my website. And on there it says, take the test. This is a test that was built by one of my students who said, I can do a profiling tool where people can use it and work out if they're a magnet, a maker, or a monitor. Now, just to make it clear, if you go on there and take the test, there is no sign-up. I'm not capturing your email address. There's nothing to buy. And it doesn't even tell me that you've been there. But you do the test, and the model is this, which is, imagine I'm your best boss ever, saying, you've been great. In fact, I've got a reward for you. Because we've got a big job coming up, I'll give you a list of 3 jobs, and you can pick the one you want to do, not the one you kind of have to do. And you answer each question, and just take the test. Just look on there, take the test. And you'll answer the questions. Don't spend long on it. Don't agonize over it. Don't think, well, is it 1 or 2? Just do it. Then it'll say, congratulations. It's always a good answer and a good result. You're either a magnet maker or monitor. And if you're a magnet, you love doing this and you hate doing that. And then have a look at it and say, is that true or not? Mostly people say, I'm pleased to say, you nailed me, Mike, you're a genius. No, it's not true. So you love to do these things, you hate to do those things. So the things you hate to do, you've got two choices. Either learn how to do them. I have to learn how to use the spreadsheet or the tax man will get me. So I have to do monitor stuff sometimes. It's my worst time. Doing my tax return is hell. I've got it down to about half an hour, but it's still my worst day. I would prefer to be doing this if I had a choice. So you're good at this and you're bad at that. Because if you want to talk to me, I am here literally all day. And if I'm not somewhere obvious, I'm in the pool. So you'll have to get me out of the pool, but I'm delighted. I'll sit and chat with you as long as you want. But it would really help me if you say, oh, I did go on the site, and it said I was a magnet maker monitor, because I speak to magnets one way, makers the other, and monitors a different way. I try and connect with, oh, so you love doing this, therefore this, and I'll assist you in recognizing who your foil is. This works in business. You need a good range of people. It works in your personal life. I mean, many of you have partners, wives, husbands, whatever, and sometimes they're the same person, but often they're complete opposites. So my wife was here this time last year, and as Claude was saying, you know, she has the patience of a saint. You know, she doesn't travel as well as you, but she loves the Seychelles, and we like the same things generally, but we're two very different characters. That's kind of why we get on. So that's what I wanted to say. But you can come tomorrow for entrepreneurship, and I'll do slightly different stuff, probably. I'll give you a little postcard. It's one of the ones I use in Estonia. It's got the Beatles on it. So that's got my website on it, but you've got my website there. Come and find me, come and talk to me, and I hope I can help. My name is Mike Sutton. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mike. Mike has quite a lot of wisdom, and the difference with Mike is that him and a few college friends started a company, and they grew it and they sold it, and he made loads of money, and then started teaching other people how to do it. And his book, The Beer Mat Entrepreneur, I can tell you for a fact, we had a young lady that came to the seminar last year. She's going to speak tomorrow, actually. She's going to speak for a short time. And it literally just got her on to the next level. And I didn't know that. She was in the executive boardroom we had. And she said, one guy that really impressed me was Mike Sutton. I said, well, tell me the story. Anyway, we made a whole program about it, which is in the Movers and Shakers program that's being shown at the moment. It's every 2 weeks. And I'll send you the list so that you can watch it. You'll be really, really impressed, actually. Now, another person, at the first time I was going bankrupt, actually, that had an enormous impact on me, Marcus Calca, you've heard him, Mike Sutton, you've heard him. The other one was Marcus De Silva. Now, Marcus De Silva used to live down the road to me, and when I listened to him all about the mind stuff and everything, I thought, he reminded me of David Copperfield or somebody like that, one of these hypnotists that does all these amazing things. So part of actually running a business and working with people means you have to be able to control your mind. How many of you have lost control of your mind at some point with a member of staff or your significant other? Anybody? It's only me, isn't it? Marcus De Silva, please put your hands together. He's going to talk to us for a short time.
Hi there. I've got less than 10 minutes to follow Marcus and Mike. It's a tough call, but I'll do my best. It was awesome presentations with lots of great information that I'm sure you can all take and utilize in your own lives, in your own career. I'm going to be here tomorrow doing a presentation, and it's going to be focusing on entrepreneurial presence. I coined that word about 2 weeks ago. I woke up, I've been dreaming all night, and these words popped into my mind, entrepreneurial presence. And that was it. So I made a note of it, and all these ideas come into my mind. I've got some really great, awesome stuff to share with you because you can learn lots and lots of stuff externally, but you've got to get it right inside or it just falls apart. So in a moment, what I thought I would do is give you a gift to take away, a simple technique. I believe, if I remember rightly, I taught Claude how to do this some years ago, and he's never forgotten it. And he's never actually forgotten the results that you get from it either. So before we do this, I'm just going to briefly let you know what I intend to do tomorrow. I'm going to talk about the law of attraction. Is it real? Does it work? From a business entrepreneurial point of view. NLP, what works, what doesn't? Is it real? Hypnosis, does it exist? We're going to talk about all these things from an entrepreneurial point of view. It'll be fun. It's going to be very proactive. I'm going to be standing here working with you on most of this, but there's also going to be a little bit of group interaction as well. So, for now, this is what I'd like you to do because time's a little bit limited. So, I'd like to invite everybody to take a deep breath in through their nose, close your eyes, and slowly breathe out through your mouth. Wonderful. Just gently bring your awareness to your breathing, the natural lifting and falling of your breath. Just allow your body to be calm. Now, I want you to imagine an image in your mind, looking out of your own eyes. Imagine yourself in your place of work, your place of business. It could be your office at home. It could be the office in your corporate company. It could be doing an activity. But a business that you actually have at the moment, put yourself in that spot, seeing it from your own eyes. So close your eyes, or you can keep your eyes open. It really doesn't matter. And just put yourself in your place of business as it is at this moment. So in other words, feel what you feel. Talk to yourself in the way you talk to yourself, and really get a good, strong visual representation of where you are in your business. Feel the feelings, see what you see, hear what you hear within your mind and outside as well. Get a really good representation of that. And when you're happy, you've got that representation, put it to one side for the moment and just put your hand up so I've got an idea that you've done it. Brilliant, okay. It's difficult because there's a lot of people here, so it's going to be, the process is going to vary from person to person. Now, I want you to create an image of you, the end result, how you're going to look and feel once you're successful in what it is you want to actually achieve. So you're creating a picture of you looking very, very successful, satisfied with how things have turned out. And to help you do this, you could think of a time in your past where you were feeling really resourceful, really confident, really on track and in control of your life. So get a clear crystal image in your mind. Just imagine it. Take your time. Think of it on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is like the most successful and confident you can be and feel. Try and get one close to a 10, 8, 9, or a 10. And when you've done that, just put your hand up, please. Okay, take a little bit more time. Excellent. Now, I want you to go back to the first image of yourself in your place of business, in the place of work, where things are as they are now. Put yourself back there, looking out of your own eyes. You're not looking at yourself, you're actually looking out of your own eyes. So you could be looking at your computer, you could be looking at anything to do with your business. And when you're ready, just put your hand up to let me know you're there. Brilliant. Now, I want you to keep that image in your mind and pull that image of you at 8, 9, or 10, looking successful, looking resourceful, looking confident, in control, and put the image right in the middle of this first image you've got, looking out of your own eyes. So I want you to take that image and make it the size of a tiny postage stamp and put it right in front of you. If you've got a computer screen there, put it right in the center of the computer screen, like a shrunken down version. So you're looking out of your own eyes in your place of business where you are now, and you've got this really positive image of yourself shrunken to a tiny size of a postage stamp right in the middle of the image. It could be in the middle of your computer screen, on the wall, whatever. And when you've got that, just put your hand up, please. I'll give you a little bit more time on this, because this is a powerful process. So when you're ready, just put your hand up, please. Okay, in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 4. When I get to 4, I want you to imagine that tiny image of you as a success is swishing out of the screen or wherever it's coming from in your business, swishing out and filling the whole of your awareness. And at the same time, I want you to imagine the image of you in your business is swishing away into the distance to a tiny dot. So you're actually swapping the images over very, very quickly. So on 4, I want you to do this as quick as whoosh, 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 5 times. And when you've done it, just let me know by putting your hands up. So after 4, you're going to swish that positive self-image, and you're going to fill the whole of your visual awareness. And you're going to do it as quick as whoosh, 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 whoosh. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fast. Hands up when you've done it. Excellent. Okay, I think you can do it faster than that, so we're going to do it again in a moment because the brain likes to learn fast. So in a moment, I'm going to count to 3 this time. When I get to 3, I want you to swish that image again as quick as whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 times, super fast, and then just put your hand up when you've done that. After 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, when you've done that, I want you to imagine you're stepping into the image, this new positive image that you're almost definitely now finding pretty accessible. And I want you to connect with the feelings. You're stepping into the image, connect with the feelings. And when you feel those feelings, just imagine those feelings spinning through your body. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Excellent. Now just gently bring your awareness back to your breathing and let those images go. A bit like a sort of a Snapchat type thing, you know. Excellent. Okay, just become aware of what's happening in the room, the sound of the air conditioning, sounds around you, the seat underneath you. And I want you to now try to get the original image back of you in your business and tell me what is coming up for you. Okay, would anyone like to share how those images have changed? Okay, who done the exercise? Who participated in the exercise just now? You was all doing something. When you try to get the image back of you sitting in your workplace, put your hand up if there's been a slight alteration in what's coming up in its place. Okay. Could you share a word or two about what's happened? So are you saying that the new image shows up more? Yes, that's right. So what you're doing, you're moving toward something rather than kind of trying to move away. Excellent. Anybody else like to make any comment about that exercise? Good or bad? Mike Southern? Hi, you're still in that trance, aren't you? I can tell you. So you thought I was talking to this mic, didn't you? How did you get on with that? Sure. And what happened when you try to get the original image back? What's changed? What image is coming up the most? Yeah. Sure. Anybody else want to share anything? Claude.
It's actually very difficult to go back to the old image because you've done that swishing a few times. Every time you do it, it's like automatic. You get the second image.
See, the more you do this, the brain likes repetition. The more you do this, the more powerful it becomes. And you'll find it almost impossible to go back to the original image because the new positive image will be more prominent. You need to practice this. It's not easy. We're not... What we actually are doing, we're doing this anyway for every day of our lives, but we're doing it in reverse and getting what we don't want. So it's like a negative form, like negative self-hypnosis, if you like. So, So tomorrow, we'll be going into that a lot more, much more deeply, and we'll have more time to kind of develop it and cultivate it. This is very quick, but at least you got an idea of the sort of stuff we'll be touching on. So thank you ever so much for your time, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, Marcus. So these mind exercises are things I think that I've probably been doing for the last 20 years as well. And I got very curious after attending one of Marcus's sessions. And it's stuff that I still do today. So how many of you have learnt something so far? Put your hands up. One thing. How many of you would like to come again? How many of you would like to come tomorrow? Okay, great. Now, for the very last part, what I actually thought, and I know you've all got questions for specific people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the speakers to come up to the stage. Okay, and I want you folks to throw questions at them which they have to answer. Eleanor, where are you? Is she around? Oh, yeah.
Anyone got a question? Feel free.
Okay, come on. One of you people must have a question for one of the speakers. Whoever's got the biggest smile, I'm going to pick on them. So this lady over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so in one of your slides, it mentioned that it's not about the people, but rather about the process. So I just wanted to, get your insights more about that.
More often than not, we start with judging people. And if we look at the process, there's a fantastic model by a chap called Albert Ellis. And he has a model which is called ABCDE. And it starts with the activating event. What is the thing that causes you to feel anxious, angry, frustrated? So that's the A. Then B is the belief. What belief does it then fuel? And what's the inner dialogue that you go through? It's their fault, they're lazy, whatever. Then C is the challenge. Is that really true, objectively? Then D is disputation, so you dispute it. So if it's not true, what might be true? And then E is the exercising the reality and putting a new process in place. And if you focus on developing really powerful processes that are simple, that are easy for people to replicate, then what that does is it takes the judgment out of it. And it allows people to focus on the job to be done. The job to be done is the outcome that you and your people want. And again, for those of you who are in sales, people don't buy your product or service ever. They rent the outcome. So think about the outcome that you want and begin designing your process backwards from what excellent looks like. And so you design it that way, and you avoid going the convoluted route and making lots of mistakes. And involve other people in that process, because more minds on the solution means that you're going to get range. The problem is that if it all ends up on you to create that process, then it means more work for you, and also it feels imposed on the team. So that would be, those would be the 2 bits of advice. Albert Ellis and ABCDE, and begin with the end in mind and work backwards when you're blueprinting it. Does that answer your question?
It does, but to carry on with that, an additional question would be, in terms of people, what if you try to transform them? In order for the process to be better, what about you transform their mindset, kind of help them grow or improve in certain ways, and then that could help with whatever process that we have implemented?
Excellent question. Okay, so if we want people to change, first of all, we have to make it safe for them. So that's part of what being hard on the process and kind on the people means. So the first thing we do is we ask them, what is wrong with our process? What's broken? What needs fixing? And they have to feel safe so that they're not going to be punished for raising their objections or their concerns. As Mike alluded to as well, find out why how many of you have actually sat down with your people and asked why they really come to work? What do they want from their job? Everyone will say money, be able to pay the mortgage, the rent, put food on the table. But is that really why you guys come to work? I put money on it. That's just that's the starting point. So when I work with leadership teams, one of the first things I do is I look at their recruitment process. And I ask myself, I get them to interview people and say, okay, let's imagine it's 3 years from now. You've been in the job, you've succeeded. What would you like to do next? And create a pathway, a career path that allows them to start mapping out the things that they want to learn. And then you start integrating that into your systems design. With Mike's stuff, where you're talking about the magnet, the monitor, and the maker, there's another level above that, which is the architect. And that's really where a lot of entrepreneurs and managers need to get to. So Mike's stuff gets the fundamentals in place, but then you have to start looking at the system as a whole. And if you think of your business as an organism, a living organism, you have the skeleton, which is the foundations upon which it's built. Then you have the musculature, so all the muscles, and that gives the energy and the power. Then you have the connective tissue, and then you have the nervous system. Well, if you think of your business in the same way, how do you build in increments? And you build on the skeleton, and then you create the systems that allow process to happen. Then you build the connective tissue because you see the interdependence between each department and each function. So if I do a good job, who else is affected positively? If I do a bad job, who else is affected negatively? And then you've got the nervous system in the brain, which is how do you then instill creativity and innovation? So we want people to follow a process to begin with, but the process is not static. It's something that evolves over time. And so what we then do is we start building, as architects do, the whole system and see how all those different moving parts are interrelated.
Can I back something? Yeah, please. Yes, Marcus just mentioned the ABCE model by Albert Ellis. Now, that is an incredible model. I've been using that in my psychotherapy and counselling work for the past 20 years, and it really is the anatomy of a problem. And because it's interesting, the process in selling versus therapy change is quite similar, actually. So, yeah, it's great advice.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, folks? Come on, one of you must have some questions. You won't have the opportunity to have these people on the stage in front of you. You can ask them anything to do with people.
Just a quick one for Mike. The take a test, is that something that you would recommend for your whole team to do to get to know them a bit better?
Absolutely, and the great thing is it's free. But always tell me what the result is if you want to talk to me about it. But I was so pleased when that student did that. He's a brilliant guy, he's Bulgarian. And he just said, well, look at the test. I thought, this is genius. I mean, I didn't invent the test, but it gives good outcomes. What's fun about it? People say, well, I'll do it a different way and come up with a different outcome. But they always come out with the same outcome. It is a work of art, that thing, but it is completely free, and get all your team to do it. Because, just to reiterate what they said, for this lady, everything is process in business, full stop. Business is a process, and you can map it. Monitors are really good at that. They do a spreadsheet and whatever. Makers are kind of half good at it because it's like, well, we can put better elements in there. It's people like me, magnets, who need to have process not beaten into us, but you maybe have to do that. You know, a sales is a real process. If I'm just going out and talking to people and telling stories, if I am not doing the process. So this is why what most people get from an event like this is, tell me the process, explain the process, and there's lots of stuff, maps on it. Then tips for getting from A to B, or when the process goes wrong and you've got a horrible boss, or nobody's listening to you, or you've got a staff member who doesn't turn up. So just, if you concentrate on the process, but of course, saying to Mike, work on the process, I'm like, can't I just go and talk to people and tell jokes? You know, I'm the wrong person. Whereas if you ask that question, you are probably a process person. And you're thinking, process, yep, I get it, I just need to know how to do better process. So you'll be the lady in the organization who should be given the task of review our processes. And you'll say, look, this is really obvious if you understand process. So process is king.
One thing, when I go into a company to look at their sales, I don't start with the salespeople. I start with operations. I go to the people who have to actually execute the job. And I ask them, what is it you do exceptionally well that your customers love, they give you positive feedback, and they would hate to be without? Once we've established what that is, then I go and speak to marketing and to sales. And I look at their pipeline. Now, their sales pipeline, what percentage of it do you reckon actually fits the bill of what that company does exceptionally well? No more than 20%. So 80% of what they're going after is noise. So immediately, you can free up time. One of my favorite things when we work with companies is giving them a full day, possibly even 2 full days per person back forever that they can use on high-value activity instead of low-value activity and noise. And so process is absolutely where you set people free, but start by going to the right people in the organization and asking them the right questions. And I think one of the most important lessons that every manager can take away is that questions are the answer. Really get good at asking insightful questions that elicit the most important information. And go to people who are doing the job and who are struggling and ask them, what is it that we need to do to help you? And then turn that into process and have them do the work. Yeah? Okay?
Okay, any other questions, folks?
It's not much of a question. It's always a pleasure to have people again. Mike, to see you second time in Seychelles, third time, yeah, perfect. I think the question that I have to the audience, will we be ready to give a big round of an applause to Claude Bonte and Eleanor Schaffenberg for making all of this happen. Thank you very much. And the second question what I would have is if all of you would be ready, including the audience, to have a group photo done. So we have, because we're the photographer here, so we have a nice thing to think about later on. And again, all presentations, excellent, and it's always nice that Seychelles can receive absolutely people of excellence from around the world. With all the diversity that we've seen, with all the information today, I think really it was absolutely fantastic. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Olga, you must have a question. I have a question. No, you've got to have a question.
If you can tell, probably in 2 or 3 words, how you, like the best examples from your professional life, how you and I'm not gonna use the word motivate, how you inspired someone to learn new things who didn't want to learn new things?
Thank you very much, Marcus. That's very nice of you.
Like 2-3 words. How will you inspire someone to learn who doesn't want to learn new things?
Well, first of all, like we said before, you always have to find out what the person is about first. You cannot motivate anyone. Inspiring, yes, you can inspire someone. But there again, you yourself, you have to be inspired by yourself. You have to have it. You have to mirror it. So then the person will be inspired. I think that's the least.
Thank you.
Yeah, basically, I think with motivation, it's all about helping the person tap into their own inner resources or inner strengths. It works every time. You've got to kind of get into because we've all got our own, we all talk from our own world. We all live in our own world. You know, if we were to all look at a cup and saucer, we could come up with different descriptions of it because we all see things totally differently. And this is a big idea that exists in Zen Buddhism. You know, they talk about perception a lot. So, if you're working with someone, say, as a coach, you've got to get into that person's world. Empathy is pretty much king. And bring out those resources, those inner strengths.
Thank you.
Well, I have to say that I always get emails from people saying, read the book, well done, thank you, and all of that. And that's lovely. That's the nicest thing in the world. People you've never met. But the person who inspires me most right now is our son, who's 28. And I can't take credit for this personally. My wife was responsible for about 80% of this because she stopped working, she made sure he went to a right school and looked after him. He never came home crying, ever, from this great private school he went to just in Hampstead. I mean, I went to an English boarding school in the 60s, that was pretty grim. But we have in Hampstead, well, in London generally, pub quizzes, and I love a pub quiz. I'm really good at the old world stuff, so because of my ghastly boarding school, I can tell you all the kings of England, da-da-da-da. Not much use, especially when you're trying to talk to ladies. They seem not interested for some reason. But we do a quiz. If my wife and I do it, we come ninth. If my son and his girlfriend do it as well, we often win it, and it's them. Now, he is the most curious child I've ever seen. He doesn't read books, he doesn't watch television, but he can tell you all the flags of the world. Obviously, the modern question, like who is the rapper, who, or the game, whatever. He knows more about 60s and 70s music than I do, and I was there. But he's the most charming guy with it, because he just goes down rabbit holes on the internet. He's one of these people scrolling, not just seeing what is Taylor Swift up to, or what is Kim Kardashian up to. He is a curious child. That's why they love him where he works. So when I hear him at a pub quiz, just coming up with stuff, and how did you know that? I don't know, I learned it somewhere. He's very relaxed with it. He's not like a boasty person who says, I know everything. So that's what I'm proudest of. And I'm sure you're proud of your children as well, so if that's good. Marcus, what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? I'm proud of the fact that Suzanne raised 3 mostly well-rounded children. But again, like everyone else, they're works in progress. But to answer your question, I think one of the most important things is if you want people to be vulnerable first. And a lot of managers and a lot of owners have a tendency to believe that they have to be right all the time. That they have to present this irresistible force. I think that's a mistake. Vulnerability is a strength. It comes from the Latin vulnerabilis, which means to put yourself in harm's way, to make yourself woundable and do it anyway. So a Roman legionary would rip off his armor and go into battle unarmored, a bit mad. And if they made it out of there, it was conspicuous heroism. Well, I think vulnerability is an act of courage. So if you want to get the best out of your people, lead with your weaknesses. Show them your glass chin and say, go on, have a go. Knock it and it'll break. And you tell them about your failures. Because if you show them that, if you lead with that, they will then feel confident that they can talk about their failures too. And that's where you learn. I can honestly say in 35 years of being in sales, and I think we're at 25 years doing this, I haven't really learned a lot from my victories, but from the scar tissue, oh, wow. It's just a plethora of lessons. So lead with vulnerability and be humble. You don't have all the answers. In this room, there are way more experience than I have. Mike just on his own has more experience than I do. So collectively, there's hundreds of years. You did all the work today. I've got answers, but your answers are going to be better than mine, especially when you bring them all together and you start to think, right, okay, well, what can we do? And to build on Mike's point, curiosity, endless curiosity, child mind. Go and approach every problem as if there's a blank sheet of paper, and what we want to do is create the best possible outcome. And if we start with that premise, and we give permission to people to be vulnerable and to talk about what isn't working, you will accelerate the pace of your transformation. And transformation is different from change. Change happens, and then often people will backslide. Transformation is permanent. And that's what we're aiming for as managers and leaders. It's transformation, not just change.
Thank you very much, Marcus. I've got a question, actually, and I'd like that question answered by all of you. So as you were saying, it's transformation, not change. Now, and again, it's an example here. Eleanor, when she ran the Diamond Works, the girls came in before the sun was up. So that means they had to be in at about 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, and this has always been one of these $6 million questions. Transformation versus change. Those girls, were they the full ticket before they walked through the door? Or did they go through a transformation process to take ownership and say, I'm going to be the best that I can? First question is 2 parts, that's A. And the B is, what's the fastest time that this can happen? Is it something, and Marcus De Silva will be able to answer that part as well, is the whole thing, does therapy take 27,000 sessions, or can it happen in a heartbeat, like Tony Robbins says?
Only if you're Freudian. So Michelangelo was asked, how did you, from that lump of marble, how did you create the masterpiece that is the sculpture of David? And he said, that was easy. All I did was take away the bits that weren't David. So my answer to the first part of your question is yes. People have that potential there. Our job is to carve away the piece, or help them carve away the pieces that aren't the masterpiece. And often that's baggage. And it always comes back down, or typically it always comes back down to fear that's instilled through childhood trauma. All of us, there's a fabulous poem by Philip Larkin. They muck you up, your mum and dad. They don't mean to, but they do. They fill you with all the faults they had, and they add some extra just for you. Well, a lot of what we do in adulthood is built on those early foundations, and we can actually make a conscious choice to replace them. And that's the stuff that Marcus does, which is the rewiring of the brain so that you have better choices. And that's what the ABCDE model allows you to do as well. So with
Can it happen fast?
Change. Well, yeah, from my experience, I've been working on a one-to-one with clients for nearly 24, 25 years almost, and change can happen rapidly. The secret is this: it's when a person's at the point of readiness for change. So in other words, smoking's a great example. When I very first become a hypnotherapist, I cut my teeth on helping people giving up smoking, something that doesn't really happen too much now because of vaping, etc. But time after time, I had clients come to me, and within one session, and I'm not quite sure exactly when in that hour it happened, change occurs because they never smoke again. Certainly, I've followed up with clients 2, 3, 4 years later, and they haven't touched a cigarette. A client come to me years ago, wanted to lose weight. He was a grizzled sales veteran. He was recommended to me, and he wanted to lose weight. And he really had his arms folded. He was he was very defensive. He didn't think it was gonna work for one moment. And I put him into a trance, worked through some stuff, give him some suggestions. He called me up 2.5 months later for his second session because I just thought, well, maybe it's not worked, so I haven't heard from him. He come back to see me, he'd lost 30 pounds in fat, and he wrote me a great glowing testimonial. So I think a change can certainly happen fast, for sure. And I think Mark is also correct about transformation sometimes been a longer term, more permanent kind of process. And just to touch on what Marcus was talking about earlier, and Mike, process is king. Whether it's sales or therapy, you've got to get and work with the process as a person. Communication is all about process, really, to get to deep into the communication, to really get the information where you want it. So yeah, change, it can happen very quickly, it can happen rapidly, but yeah, I think if the person really wants to change, they can change very quickly. Do you want to add anything to that, Mike?
Yeah, sure. We all change all the way through our lives. So when I'm talking with somebody, I kind of work out whether they're 14 to 21, which we'll get a lot of those tomorrow, 21 to 28, 28 to 35, and so on and so forth, because people behave differently at different times. And what can speed it up are the circumstances of your business. There could be a big opportunity. We've got to get up to speed on AI in the next 2 weeks. We might win a big order. So you can accelerate the process. But just to summarize, when you're young, you're malleable, you're curious, you're doing stuff, and you get as much guidance from mentors. Now, I make a distinction between a coach who is a very specific thing. You want to run fast, you want to be a better person. There's some good coaches on here. I'm a mentor. I'm no good at coaching, really. I just give the best advice I can, given for free, based on my experience. But one of the big ages, if I just drop one in, is 56. Most of you are younger than 56. But when you get to 56, I've been through that, you're thinking about your legacy. What am I leaving behind? Children, a best-selling book, whatever it is. So your mindset is slightly different. But of course, when you get to my advanced age, you're just hoping to get invitations to come to the Seychelles and hopefully pass on some good stuff and meet some nice people. And if I get a fourth gig here, I'll be amazed. But, you know, who knows? I never thought I'd get a second one. So I hope to see you all again. So, Eleanor.
Eleanor, the question for you is, can change happen fast in Seychelles?
Yes.
Okay, right.
It took me 1 month.
Elaborate on it.
Okay, the answer is it took me about a month. So I did a onboarding sort of with the girls. For those who don't know what I did, it was Diamond Works. It was a startup here in the Seychelles, Diamond Works SA, that's found in South Africa. And yeah, I had 5 different girls from different backgrounds. And we're going to sell diamonds in Tanzanite. I don't do diamonds, but I don't like jewelry, so you can just imagine. But I do people. So that worked. And I took them all as individuals, not as per the post title that the Diamond Works was sort of issuing at them. So in the end, I found out their traits, what they were strong in, and where their weaknesses were. And I sat down with them, and I told them my strong points and my weaknesses. And it worked wonderfully. So everybody was a leader in their own category. So there was one girl who could only speak Creole. She couldn't speak well English, but I didn't want her. I said, it's fine. You do your tour in Creole. So all the Seychelles will be yours. So that's how I did it. So everybody had their own roles within the store, if you want. And it worked wonderfully. And they fought over it, which was weird. So they came in at 6 a.m., and sometimes they wouldn't get home till 11 p.m. because in the end, I would even do showcasing at Four Seasons Hotel, Karana Beach, and we would just go on, right? So it does work. Seychelles are amazing people, really skilled. They can do a lot, but as long as you find their why they're doing it, and how you can sort of inspire them to be more. And yeah, we did it, and it was amazing.
So, Claude, one other thing. How many of you keep a journal?
Yeah, God, you drummed that into me 20 years ago.
Okay. If you don't keep a journal, I recommend that you do. And start small, really small. Write down 3 lessons that you captured that day. That's it. And you start building that incrementally. The journal is fascinating because when I work with salespeople, the ones who don't journal will grow their sales 30 to 50%, which is good. The ones who journal, on average, and I mentioned a couple of them earlier, Silke Ahrens and Adam Wilcox, they grow sales by 300 to 1,200%. Okay, and the journal is a record because the weakest ink is stronger than the strongest memory. And it allows you to track your progress. So if you keep a daily journal, just start with 3 lessons a day. If you took my email address or you want my email address, just ask. And I'll send you a framework to then build the journal incrementally. But that is the single most powerful tool that I've found for creating lifetime transformation that is permanent, and you can track your progress as you go, because you see when you read the journal, what you were like 3 months ago or even 3 years back. And if you've lied to your journal, you'll also remember when you lied to it, because I remember writing out the journal and I had put a doodle in, and I remember I was trying to avoid a difficult question from my coach. So really powerful stuff.
20 years ago, actually, Mark has been drumming this journaling, and it has really changed my whole life. That's how I started Eden Island VIP. And these seminars as well. This is the 3rd one. And it is due down to journaling. So thank you very much, everybody. Maddie, you've got a question.
Hi. So from the point of where you are right now in your life, what's the best piece of advice will you give to your 20-year-old self about business that are not taught in school?
In my case, you're an idiot. When I was 20, I was full of vim and vigor, and I was convinced that I understood the world. And I quote Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde said, when I was 14, my father was a fool. By the time I was 21, I couldn't believe how much he'd learned. And I think you have to approach your business with that child mind, that it is an ongoing process. And you're constantly learning. The moment you stop learning, you atrophy, and then the whole thing dies.
Simply do not stress on what you can't control.
Excellent advice.
My good friend, Dr. Robert Anthony, who endorsed my book, How to Change Your Life with the Amazing Secrets of Hypnosis, he has some great quotes, and one of my favorite quotes of his is, "We fear the thing we want the most." And I think that's so true. So get over all your fears. Life's short, and listen to people talk more than you talk yourselves.
3 things. Treat people like you want to be treated yourself. So if you're shouting at somebody who's made a mistake, would you like to be shouted at like that if you've made a mistake? No, of course you wouldn't. Secondly is help people, but don't go broke in the process. You can spend all your life helping people, but you're not earning a living, feeding your family, and so on. The last one is my number 1 tip for sales, which is tell the truth. If you tell lies, you get found out and they don't come back to you. You've got to be a bit creative sometimes, but there you go, brotherly love, relief, and truth.
On the truth, always tell the truth. It confounds your enemies and surprises your friends. And the problem with lying to somebody is while they may forgive you, they won't forget. And certainly in sales, that is absolutely, I think we should definitely end on that. So great point, Mike. Always tell the truth to your customers. And if you don't know, simply say, "I don't know. Let me get back to you." That lends way more credibility than coming up with some made-up answer. Yeah.
Thank you very much, folks. That was absolutely brilliant. Now, another one, okay.
Actually, it's not the question. I want to say huge thanks to Claude for organizing this absolutely incredible event. Big thank you to all the speakers and a fantastic audience. I've been here in Seychelles for 5 years, and it's actually the first time that I attend this kind of event, and I want to say we want more. We want more events like this. The topics, the conversation that actually aims to develop people, to grow people, to get expertise from experts, to get expertise from the local absolutely amazing professionals. So not the question, but request, please, let's do more. Things that we don't need to go Dubai or, I don't know, Mauritius or other places, London, which we also have to do, right? But not everyone has that opportunity just to hop on the plane and go across the ocean. And I'm sure that we have a capability, we have a potential, we have people, and we have a huge need for this kind of events that aims to develop people, that aims to get and share expertise. Thanks a lot to everyone.
So on that note, Claude, could you set up a WhatsApp group so that people can ask questions? Because I'd certainly be happy to participate in that.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have one. There's two. There's one for HR. I'll add you to it with quite a few people. Are you happy to go on a WhatsApp group? You're all happy to go on a WhatsApp group. Make sure you've got your mobile numbers as well on the in the book there. So I'll add you because we do have one, and I'll put Marcus on it as well so that you can communicate. What I'd like to say, again, that's very kind of you to say that, Olga. A lot of sleepless nights. This is the third one, and I'm more relaxed now. The last one, I have to share this with you because the last one, we had Gerald Ratner, the man that lost £500 million and then made it again. It's on the net. SBC recorded it. You can watch it. He was very good, actually. But do you talk about a sleepless night? He was only going to come here for 1 day. 1 day. And if the plane was delayed or something, it wouldn't happen. And I remember standing here on a Friday, and we were in the seminar when he landed. So I couldn't even go and meet him. We had to send a taxi, and then he came. And everything went really, really well. And I was on tender hooks and all over the place. This one, I've been relaxing for the last week. So this one's been probably the easiest of the three. Ideally, we have 40 people here. We would like to have 80 people. We'd like to have 100 people. We'd like to do one every 6 months. But what I've actually tried to educate into all the people, and tomorrow if you come you'll see it, is I said to people, look, you can have some concessions if you can bring 3 or 4 people with you. Because I want the people to have ownership, that if they bring 3 or 4 friends, then you have a lot more people. And some people's really taken me up on that, like Marina. She's got the Marinas. So they're all over. And that's how we grow it. It's through the network. And I have an idea, if this is number 3, once we get to number 5 or number 6, Eden Blue won't be big enough, if you understand what I mean. There'll be so many people in here because you can see these people have got some tremendous stuff to teach us. And I'm still learning every day. Now they've come to me 1 million miles across the ocean instead of me catching a train to go and see them. So there you are. But what I would say is a big thank you for you lot for playing full out. And whoever wants to come tomorrow, just come. That's all I can say. I mean, it's that's the reward for playing full out, and you'll love it. Who knows, we might pack these rooms out tomorrow. I don't know. We've already got, I think, 70 people coming, and there's been about 30 or 35 kids, or 30 or 40 kids. So get here early is what I can say. Just get here as early as you can, and we'll continue. So once again, thank you very much.